One of the questions I have for the audience, anybody in a relationship, how many people have, because a lot of people have this, have a password on their cell phone? How many people can say they have the password to their significant other's cell phone? Okay, that's kind of like, you talk about that trust, you talk about that openness. I think the reality is this. Men are men and women are women, and reality is there's an attraction. And until the issue is addressed, until you come out and you put it on a table and you say, this is what it is, this is what it was, this is what it will be, it's there. And until the issue is addressed openly, like you said, you know, there's always going to be that innuendo. There's always going to be that, okay, yeah, I know you dated them in college, but what's good now? There's always that question of, okay, so this happened in the past, but yeah, I know they're your male friend, but like you said, men have male genitalia, women have female genitalia. Let's be honest. They kind of work together a certain way. We all know about that. So the reality is we really have to put it out there, have to have open communication, have to be honest. And when we do, and we get past it, because there's always those subtle little things. The cell phone here, the text message here, the email, you know, oh, I'm hanging out with my friends. What friends? Oh, you know, you don't know them, don't worry about it. You know, there's always the little questions and comments and ideas, and it's in the past, but especially, I think all the men can say, there's going to be that ego, there's going to be that question. Okay, so if I'm your man and it's you and I, who is this other person? There's always going to be that initial question. When we address it openly, get beyond it, then we're fine. But if there's ever this, one part of my life is over here, one part of your life is over there, and granted, everybody's their own person. Everybody needs their me time and their space. But if there's this notion that there's things that we can't share, especially about someone of the opposite sex, there's always going to be questions. I mean, and that's only natural. So we have to put it out there, we have to address it, and when we can openly, honestly say, yes, this is a person I used to date, they were attractive, we did whatever we did 15 years ago, but I love you for who you are today. That's not what I'm doing, and you know what, because I love you, if you feel more comfortable with me not being, let's all meet each other and talk. Let's sit down and address it and put it out there. Once that's done, that's better. But if it's, yeah, we hanging out, but you know what, this is my time to be with them, why you gotta come? Then there's gonna be questions, and I think that's the reality we have to ask. We have to openly, honestly address, do we feel comfortable sharing who we are and who we were with our significant other? And if we can do that honestly and openly, then we're good. But if not, because there's questions of, yeah, I don't really want to talk about what I used to do with so-and-so and me and him was going to hang out at such and such a time, then there's always going to be the question. There's always going to be the question, there's mistrust, and it just goes from there. And it leads back to some of the more basic things of, do you even let that other in your life know that password to the cell phone? Seeing my emails, looking at what the text is, and it seems walking into the other room when I pick up the phone, oh, I got to call you, I'm going to go to the other room. Those are the little things that draw suspicion. And we laugh and we snicker, but we understand what that's really about. How can I expect my other half to love me for me if I'm hiding part of me from that person?
True.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you. Ms. Moore.
I just wanted to say,
There you go.
I think we need to qualify something here. Initially, you said friends.
Right.
There's a difference between friends and people you were bunk buddies with back in the day. If you're just bunk buddies, then once you make the decision to get into a serious relationship, they should already be cut.
Yep.
And then whatever real friends you have, those are the people that you have the conversation with your mate about. But the bunk buddies should already be gone. You know,
my husband would have no female friends.
Yeah, what if they overlap? There's some people that, you know, they became friends. This is my theory. Men don't want to deal with men that slept with their wives or their women back in the day. They don't want to deal with them. I don't think a man want to sit down socially with his wife gynecologist. He don't want to know him. He want to act serious. Like, the gynecologist cannot come over like, hey, I just moved in next door. What y'all doing today? He's not invited. He done seen something that's sacred to you, and men don't want to hear that. So the bottom line is, the truth of the matter is the male ego, and I think sometimes women underestimate the male ego. And the reality of it is, and no matter how a woman tries to frame it, oh, he my play cousin. Oh, we in the sandbox. So our mother washed us up together. He don't want to hear it. If he not a relative, I know, dude, they can't even, in certain cultures, they don't even want girl around her brothers and stuff. That's the, you see what I'm saying? This comedian had a joke, and he said, who's that picture up there? That's Jesus. Take it down. Take it down. Take it down. There are some dudes, they just don't want to hear it, Darlene. They don't.
So that actually is a great question because that I remember listening to a call, and I believe you could have been on a call. It was a call, and they referenced the boundaries of friendships. And you mentioned sandbox. So the thing is, all right, if I have somebody that I grew up with, I have a friend that I've known since I was 13 years old. I'm 35 now. If I get into a relationship and we've been friends for X amount of years, why should I give up this friendship? And the individual we were dating, I've never been married, we were dating, and he swore to God I was wrong for having a friend and inviting a friend over without his consent. And mind you, we weren't living together at the time. We weren't living together at the time. And it was just a friend. I know his family, he knows my family. So with that said, if you have a friend that you've grown up with from here, or even here, 12, 13, 14, should you maintain that relationship with that person when in a relationship? And that's a great question because I addressed that. I said, it's daytime. Everybody is more, it wasn't even just he and I. It was a social forum. Other people were there. He just wasn't there, and he had a problem with that because he wasn't there. But is it insecurity versus what he was saying?
To kind of piggyback, a lot of times what happens, honestly and truthfully, what happens is it's insecurity because now you're in a relationship or you're dating someone and you're platonic and then you have someone that you're friends with. And we can say all day, let's pose these questions and say, okay, you're going to lunch with Pamela, but who is Pamela? And then you get that negative feedback where he's like, you don't trust me, such and such and such, or you're being insecure. And you know, you hear that, and it'll make you say, well, I don't want to be the angry black woman, so maybe I shouldn't say anything. But I think if you have those relationships, I've been friends with someone since I was 15. I'm 30 now. And I currently date someone that I was friends with since 05. But see, there's a difference. Him and I were friends. So he already knew about my other friends. But even if he didn't, I have a relationship with him because we grew up together. He knows about and we could all sit in a room because and I have never had sex and we've never looked at each other like that. So when a relationship is honest, you can have that kind of openness with each other and nobody feels some kind of way. But now if you don't have sex with the person that you've been with, then that's going to change the whole demographic.
No. You know what else can also change the situation? It depends on how the friend is introduced into the relationship as well. So if you introduce them into the relationship the right way, you set boundaries, you let them know where they stand, don't try to switch lanes and things like that. Also, you have to respect your spouse or your boyfriend. If that's the person you're spending your life with, the person you love, and they have a serious problem with one of your friends, then you do need to consider possibly separating yourself from that person or creating some distance. There's some women, I told him, don't even say hi when she walks past. She can say good morning, just look the other way.
But what would you do if that person, your significant other, have a problem with everybody?
And there's an insecurity with that person.
My ex had a problem with everybody.
What was you doing? I mean, let's be real.
So now I gotta drop all my friends. Whether it was a male or female.
Okay, what was you doing?
Everybody. Huh?
What was you doing to make him feel insecure?
Why do I have to do something?
Man or woman?
Why do I have to do anything?
Sweetheart, you just said a lot of ourselves.
He had a problem.
That's not a lot of ourselves.
No.
What was you doing?
I'm not lying to myself.
I'm not saying you are. Don't be upset, please.
This is who you are, and this is who I am. You know, these are my friends. I have friends. You have friends. I don't bother you.
He's just mad with everybody for no reason.
He was mad with everybody.
Oh,
he didn't like me. He don't even like my own sister. So it was like...
You don't like people on TV?
I think it goes back to what Renee said. How are these friends introduced in the relationship? Because I think... Now, we a lot of us talked about from the married perspective. Now, from the single perspective, what is the conversation that is a differentiation that now our relationship is platonic? That conversation is not just one conversation. There's a transition period. that you got to begin to, okay, now we are platonic, we're single, and now we decided we're going to be exclusive. There's more than one conversation that's going to make exclusivity happen. It's going to take a month, maybe 3 months, because I forgot about somebody I didn't tell you about. And oh, no, now let's talk about this one, and now let's talk about that one. And there are different scenarios that need to happen. There's different situations that need to present themselves so that we can now understand how we need to communicate, where we need to communicate, so we can really define this as platonic. It's not a one conversation deal.
I wanna jump in here because as the ex-whore on the panel, the funny thing is, men, I love when people speak in generalizations when they say men can't. I think what has to happen is, no, I didn't have any platonic relationships because all I thought about was what I could get. And that's how I lived my life. And so once I made the change in my life, some of the things one of the first things that had to change, and it goes back to honesty of self. Second thing was honesty to my woman. Now, with having friends that you had sex with, the question is, what did that sex cause in terms of the relationship you have now? Because you can be friends with anyone that you were with because you're not that person. So if you're not that person, you don't have that same connection that you had to that person when y'all bettered each other. But if you were with that person, they caused damage in your relationship right now, you can't ask your significant other to relive that pain because they see the friendship that you have. So it's better to your relationship to let that friendship go, to keep things solid in the relationship that you have, because it's unfair to your significant other to have to relive the pain of what you might have did with that person when you were with them. So the question is, it's not just the sex, it's what role did that side, if it was a side relationship. If it's just a past relationship, and you're now not that person, and I think it's funny is that I see a lot of folks who say they go to church. Well, then if you guys say, why are you worried about the past? And why are you still trying to hold your significant other to a past that the Lord that you say you claim has already forgotten? Now, you can't hold a man or woman to something that God don't even hold you to. And so we actually have to catch ourselves and we allow ourselves to start rambling on about that, those of us that claim to be spiritual beings. Because the idea is that if I love my wife and I claim my wife in the eyes of God, then I don't really care what happened before we were together. And any woman that I'm friends with, whether I was sexually with her or not, already understands where I am right now with her. And so when that happens, any woman that calls at an odd hour, she got to explain to me why she's calling long before she explains to my wife. Because it's disrespectful to my wife. And my wife is going to hear me check her. Simply because it's disrespectful to my home. If I'm in control of me, my wife don't have to worry about nothing. And that's the mistake that a lot of men make the mistake of. You ain't got to explain it, just do it. And when you do it, she'll see it. And when she sees it, she won't say nothing. Now, others might sit back and go, girl, how you deal with him? Yeah, well, she caught me cheating 3 times when we was dating and stayed with me, but now we have a perfect marriage in our mind. So argue who I was or argue who I am. Either one don't make me no difference because the only person that matters to me is my wife and God. But too often, we're trying to explain away what we did. I just wrote a book about being with close to 400 women. So what? I got one sitting next to me that most men would kill to be with, and most people don't even understand how I got her. So I don't really have to worry about too much, and that's what we have to get to. How do we get to be so comfortable that our past is exactly what it is, the past?
Miss Tiffany, after you, we're going to bring it to the back, then we're going to prepare to close.
Okay. I just wanted to say, because I hear a lot of people say, especially her, I wasn't joking when I said if my husband cut off his female friends that he slept with, he probably wouldn't have any. Because, again, most of them were people he either slept with or intended to sleep with. But to show you how secure I am with myself, my husband has a female friend that we actually worked on a job together. Not in the same office, she was in another office. Anyway, but I befriended her knowing that they had slept together. And she didn't know I knew. And I befriended her because of who she was and her character and wanting to be, have that bond. When I disclosed to her that I knew what happened between them, she distanced herself, which led me to believe, were you trying to really be a friend or were you trying to keep your enemies close? So you have to consider you also. I don't have a problem with my husband being friends of people he slept with. I'm secure with myself. Do I worry about my husband cheating? No, I don't worry about that at all. Is it that I think he may not cheat? I don't think about it. I think about being the best wife I can be. I don't concentrate on whether he's going to cheat or not, or I shouldn't be in a marriage. So it's just about how you see it, honestly.
Thank you, thank you.